They came from cities and small towns, from farms and homesteads.
I was born in Elmore City, Oklahoma.
Broken Bow, Oklahoma.
I was born in Louisiana.
I was born in Platteville, Colorado in 1920.
Most leaving home for the first time.
Most of our battalion was made up of high school kids just like me, you know.
We were kids, and what we did was amazing.
They arrived in the middle of nowhere for one thing, to learn to fight. The Army told them this would be the best place to train. Nowhere was the Desert Training Center in the Mojave Desert, where 1 million young Americans would prepare to join the battle to win World War II. The 20th century was witness to war on a scale never before imagined. World War I, called the War to End All Wars, was merely a prelude to an even greater conflict.
Well, by the late 1930s, Germany was armed to the teeth. And what's more, the Germans had developed a new technique of warfare called blitzkrieg, or lightning war. Tank warfare, heavily mechanized warfare using heavily armored military vehicles on the battlefield that could move very quickly and envelop the adversary quickly. This was the essence of blitzkrieg, and it was the type of warfare on which Germany made its principal bet.
Comforted by the illusion of neutrality, America was content to merely provide war supplies to the Allies for a war we didn't believe was ours.
From America, they will get tanks and guns and ammunition and supplies of all kinds.
That illusion, however, was shattered on December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
I was only about 17 years old. I wasn't ready for wars and all that stuff then. I was ready for skating rinks and just dancing with girls.
Somebody said the Japs bombed Pearl Harbor, and being very bright and articulate and up to date, I asked, where is Pearl Harbor?
Japanese planes had been sowing death and destruction for an hour on American holidays.
Tens of thousands of young men reported for duty, flooding training camps with raw recruits.
I was fighting because I was supposed to. I was drafted. I'm no hero.
I received my draft notice. It was one of the happiest days of my life.
I got a dear letter from the president, a nice dear letter, John. Tickled to death to know that you're gonna be joining my army.
I wasn't ready to fight, especially with a gun, because that's dangerous.
The Japanese attack put American forces on the defensive in the Pacific. While most of his advisors favored a direct assault on Hitler in Europe, President Roosevelt agreed to British Prime Minister Winston Churchill's plan to attack the Axis powers in North Africa, where they were weaker. But American troops would need training and conditioning to contend with the special demands of desert warfare.
We found out that we were being transferred out of basic training into a specialized training.
We thought we was training to go to North Africa and get Rommel with Patton.
The War Department assigned the task of finding an appropriate location for training troops to fight in desert conditions to General George Patton.
George Patton grew up in Southern California, largely in Pasadena, in the shadow of the San Gabriel Mountains, on the other side of which begins the Mojave Desert. He knew it as a boy and a young man, and he knew there was a lot of fairly empty real estate out there. And more than many of his contemporaries, he understood the logic of mechanized warfare, tank warfare, and how it can change the nature of the whole battlefield dynamic.
After a 4-day tour of prospective sites, Patton declared it the best training area he'd ever seen. It was desolate, remote, and in his estimation, large enough for any training exercise.